Mikey Havoc.
Hi.
Thank you very much for popping on in.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for having me.
Mate,
It's nice to be behind the mic.
It's nice to be behind the mic. When was the last time you were behind the mic, brother?
I popped into BFM before Christmas for a little bit of a g'day to my chums up there.
Yep.
But I haven't been sort of employed behind the mic for a good more than 2 years now.
Where were you 2 years
Does
ago?
my head in. I finished. Last thing I did was BFM.
Yeah.
For the fourth time.
For the fourth time.
Yeah, so I did some at that training station where it's pretty much supposed to be students in training.
Yeah.
I think I did 26 something years.
26 years.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And you were saying to me
Dressed
before
the same the whole way.
you did a little stint at Hauraki for a while?
Yeah, and before that, the last stint I did at BFM was 2 years.
Yeah.
And before that, I did 4 years with Radio Hauraki,
Yep.
which was interesting. Just rode that through a really interesting. We basically saved it from being the deadbeat dad radio station that it was.
Yeah.
At one stage there, and we bought it and gave it a life, which I was quite stoked about doing.
Yeah.
Because it's a hard thing to do in these modern times, breathe life into a radio station.
I remember back in the day, it was actually dying quite a little bit, and especially when The Rock came along and a few other, they just didn't modernise, and they were sort of like drowning a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot about that history, but I know that where it was when we got there.
Yep.
And it needed some swift changes, but not too bad. Just had to be sort of radio is a fickle business.
It is.
And it's one thing I know about, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So, man, the main reason why I've got you in here is because rumour around the campfire is that Push Push is making a little bit of a comeback.
Well, I mean, you say comeback, but really we've been ready to rumble since sort of not last December, the December before last. So by the time people are watching this, so the December before COVID, say.
2019.
Yeah.
Yep.
December 2019, we were supposed to open for Kiss at Spark Arena on
Right.
their final jaunt through Australasia ever
Yeah.
that they were going to do. And that was going to be quite exciting. We were quite excited about that.
Holy shit.
And half the band live in Australia. Two guitarists live in Australia. And at one stage in the past, we hadn't even been in the same room as each other for 20 years. Which is an awful long time. But then once about in 2017, we did like a 3-gig tour with The Darkness, the English band The Darkness.
Yeah.
Just a little sort of Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch thing there, and that was really cool. And we got together for that, and it just felt like old times. And so ever since then, we've sort of just been when we can, we have a jam. When like for the Kiss thing, we had a guy over here who's a massive fan. Excellent guy, amazing guitarist, and he was sort of covering the parts so we could practice over here. Yeah. And then our guitarists flew over from Sydney, and then the day after that is when we found out that they were cancelling the tour. That Kiss were cancelling the tour, so we were a bit bummed out. But we were sounding amazing. Yep. And so, and ever since then, we've been sort of committed to at least staying sort of active in some way or another. And we released, for that Darkness tour, we released an EP of tracks that we hadn't released before. Yeah. And that was pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It's exciting to be able to put new music out, and music that we wrote when we were like 22 and be, releasing it when you're sort of in your 50s. Hello. And, so that was cool. And then, like at the moment, is we've got this gig which we're about to talk about coming up. And some songs that we want to write. Pretty much once we've done that, we'll write some songs, probably trans-Tasman via the wonders of technology. But it's songs that we've been working on for a wee while that we want to make sound good and release and see what happens.
How did Push Push come together? Were you guys a high school band or you met after?
Yeah, we're from Rangitoto College originally.
Toto.
Rangitoto College. Won the Shazam video contest back in the day.
Shazam.
And we're just this really tights and makeup and hairspray band, and sort of at the time, which we all just wanted to. Which I'm really glad that we had, because that we'd started that, because I don't know I've no idea what I would have done with all that energy, like that was going into 2 band practices a week, plus gigging, plus just being in the band. That whole thing, it wasn't. It's a lot of energy, man. So we just sort of went from there, left school, then sort of. I know we've always been really committed to it though, and just because it just seemed like a better idea than a normal job, and just sort of got involved in a big scene that was happening. We helped create part of the scene in Auckland. That was sort of 5 bands for $5, and it was right when all that sort of, glammy hard rock sort of guitar rock thing was really taking off everywhere, and it seemed to work. We had a hell of a good time doing that, and then just built from there, and then yeah, do we release a song? Okay, let's release a song. Oh, and the song went number 1. And hey, and then you're off, and got some good supports with some amazing bands back in the day, and yeah.
And that was Trippin'. Yeah. Trippin' was the first big song.
Yeah, Trippin' was the first track that we released, and it went to number 1 for 6 weeks, 26 weeks in the top 50. Yeah, number 14 in Australia, and just meant that we got to that, and that meant we got to record an album, and that meant so that we got to release a couple more songs, and they did pretty well as well, and then just that meant we could sort of tour New Zealand for a couple of years, in Australia for 6 months, and live over there, and just and then the sort of finished up, and it was heady times, as you can imagine for young men, and I wouldn't change a second of it. It was great, like things like knowing that we got like 900 people to an in-store in Invercargill. It's just like if I didn't have video of it, I wouldn't believe it.
There's 900 people in Invercargill.
This is the thing. And people were into it, and I guess with the benefit of hindsight too, but being this age now, I've really heard people really go into depth about why they liked it and how much it meant to them at the time, and that's incredibly flattering, man. It's like we can decide whether we release the song, like the song, we enjoy playing it, but maybe we get a bit sick of it or something like that. But then you hear how much of for some people it was a pivotal moment. It was a bullet point at a time when the time of the life they felt the freest, and that was the song that represents that. So that's crazy. That's amazing. Yeah. That's music. That's what music's supposed to be for.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's when you sort of get to understand, like I say, with the benefit of hindsight, that how much it means to other people as well, and not just your little band trying to make it famous, or even like we said, we won't be famous, but it wasn't really about that. It was more just about being able to keep doing it and explore it a bit more, because music's amazing.
It's amazing the power of nostalgia in music, eh?
Yeah,
that's the thing.
But also just it makes me a little bit embarrassed that I didn't realise then how much it meant to people, because I guess at the time, so what were we? I was 20, 21, sort of when Trippin' was doing its thing, and all I wanted to do was be into cool music, and so it was always trying to be cool, and always trying to be like find the new sound and the new we should incorporate this, or I like that, or go and see these bands and that sort of thing. And it kind of annoys me that I just didn't sit there and go, this is so much fun, even though I did, I suppose. I suppose I did, because I didn't really do much else apart from that. But it's amazing what it means to people, and how every single I DJ as well, DJ dance stuff, club stuff, and parties and stuff. And every single time I DJ anywhere, someone will always come and ask me to play it. And it's like, I never do. But sometimes I do. But then it means stuff to people. It's still, the fact that people even still remember that we're a band is so cool. And the fact that people want us to play, like at this this thing in Tauranga, at Bayrock, is amazing, man. That is amazing. That's cool. And it's exciting for us, because we sound great now as well.
That's brilliant. So speaking of Bayrock is coming up on the 12th of February, and you've got Zed, you've got Stella, you've got Head Like a Hole, you've got Push Push. Man, it is like 90s comeback big time.
Well, as much as everyone's talking about there needs to be, we need to all get together, and you can see lots of faces and all that sort of stuff. If you're going to do that, you might as well turn it up as well, I reckon. And that's a great bunch of bands to do it with. And I know there's a whole lot of younger bands, local bands playing as well on the lineup earlier on in the day, and hopefully they can see how much fun we're having. And just see it's worthwhile, and see what happens if you've been doing it for so many years, and how it's still fun. And I don't think there'll be one band there that's going to sort of just shuffle through their set. It's like, we're into it. We're all into it.
No one's going to phone it in.
No,
it's going to be good.
Shit, no.
Have you noticed, like what I've noticed over the last few years is rock seems to be taking a big back seat in New Zealand. I was watching the music awards a couple of months ago last year, and it was all hip hop. It was all I wouldn't even call it alternative, but the rock stuff didn't even get televised.
I don't know if it's taken a back. I think it's probably just the natural ebb and flow. Which is why I think this gig's really cool, because it's like it really does fly the flag for rock. And rock's not a dirty word, man. It's great. Rock's great. There's nothing. I went to when I was on BFM for so long, and then I got asked to work on Hauraki. And when I started, Hauraki at the time was they basically said, whatever you can come play whatever you want,
Yep.
which is pretty awesome at the time.
Sweet.
I was the only commercial DJ in New Zealand allowed to do that. Play whatever you want, but as long as it's just got to be rock based. And it made me at the time I was so deeply into like house music and dance music and stuff like that, and just and electronic and alternative and all the sort of stuff all the stuff that I was into anyway. But I've been so surrounded by that at BFM, I guess, that it made me just sort of pull back and take stock of all this, this massive boxes and boxes of CDs and crates of records, and go, right now, the Smashing Pumpkins. I know I love the Smashing Pumpkins, but let me just remind myself why. And then, oh my God, that's why. And it was awesome, man. There's a song, this song by Mad Season called "Slip Away," which has got a guitar solo at the end, which to this day, it just absolutely transports me. That I listened to it. That was released at that time. Actually, it was like a Mad Season's an old album, but it's it was like a reissue with extra songs. And just this guitar solo, I went, oh my God, guitar solos are amazing. Oh my God. And it made me look back and say the push guitar solos on our stuff that we've done. And I just thought, you take it for granted when you just bang it out and, we finished the song, we finished the song, woo, we can play it. Sort of thing. But then listening to it going, Jesus, that's amazing, man. And they're calling my fellow bandmates up going, hey, that bass line you played is amazing. Just that sort of thing. It just made me just... and I think it's a really good thing to the same way that electronic music makes you go listen to it, take, say. So I know one of the most, most emotional shows I've ever been to was 9 Inch Nails, right? Which blew me away. It's like it's essentially computers, and with live accoutrement, but it's essentially all program stuff, and it was just beautiful. It was beautiful, in the same way that you go and see someone like Shehad, and it won't be like, it's not necessarily the riffs. It's the thing. It's just the, and the and the whole sort of, what are they doing? What's going to happen now? Oh, they're doing that. Oh, Jesus, that's awesome. Like that sort of thing. And or like going to see that last Tool show just before COVID was absolutely sublime. Like the guy that was too long from us, it was his first show he'd ever been to, and I was like, man, everyone's going to be worse now.
But
stuff like that.
You set the bar high.
And I just, it's nice sort of having been forced, like I say, took that Hauraki job, to have to listen to stuff and pick my favourites from stuff that was limited, and that to be within those parameters, those rock parameters, was awesome, because it just made me appreciate how phenomenal it is. How much, and you just can't beat a great Nirvana song. You just can't. Just how powerful Soundgarden is, or just or the greatest rock band in the world, James Atkinson.
Brilliant. There's nothing like going to a live band, a live gig though.
And when's the last time you went to a live gig?
That's a good. Oh no, I went to Gold Rush down in Waihi, but it's all dance music and stuff. So, but that was great because it's the atmosphere. That sort of counts. But a gig is also different again. If you can go to a gig and see some bands play and go, oh, this is great. Have that moment of, I'm so glad I'm standing right here right now. Oh, dude, I went to, we were in the Mount recently, like a couple of weeks ago, and don't know who the band was. It was in some random pub, and it was the first time I'd seen a band, and it must have been 2 years. And I was like, this is amazing. And we're just like jamming away. And there was a young girl. She wasn't the best singer, but just passionate. And I was like, this is cool.
Sort of mid-lockdown, I went and played with some of the guys in Push Push, involved in another band called Descendants of Dinosaurs. And them and Avondale Spiders played the Yacht Club in Raglan. And I went down and I DJ'd, in between their sets, sort of thing. So it's a cool little combo we did down there. And we got up at one stage, we all got together and did Trippin', and it was just so much fun. Oh my God! There's to about 50 people there, and they were screaming in there. But it was just a gig. We're doing a gig. We're on. It was cool. It was really cool. So hopefully this is going to be a decent, really good production. Really great lineup, and
that's a brilliant lineup.
And a lineup that you might not probably see again. I don't mean that fatalistic way, but more just in a sort of
Does that adrenaline rush when you go on stage? Does it never leave? Does it always stay?
Yeah, no, it doesn't go. Which is you kind of think it would. I have the same thing when I'm doing a radio show as well. Every single show, even if I've been doing it every day for the last 300 days, still just pouring. Which I think is part of it. And there's something about there's something about playing these songs that we wrote. Like I say, we wrote when we were in our late teens, early 20s, and that people still want to see them. And that still sound good, you know. And if they didn't sound good, we wouldn't play them. We wouldn't be playing them just for the sake of it, you know, because we're probably our own biggest critics. And it's exciting. You know, like man, having that first band practice a few weeks ago, was man. I needed that after that lockdown so bad. I just needed to sing. Because that particular type of singing is very They put a lot into it, and man, not being able to do it was horrible. You know, it's a spiritual thing. Like it's esoterically. I don't know how. I don't even know. Sometimes I sing. I go, where is that noise coming out of this big bag of meat? Like that, because that's what it is. You're just somehow managing to just sort of emit this incredibly voluminous noise out of this bag of meat. Where's it come from? I find that interesting.
Speaking of voice, like
there's magic there, I think.
As you're getting older, do you find you have to adjust the way that you hit those notes? Have you had to change the way you use your voice?
I found I've got better.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know whether that. I know that I used to be really. I used to be very anxious about it and make sure, you know, worried about it, sort of. And I guess I'm less anxious about it now. And I find, but also I've done things with my voice since I was 21. Like be it like just I'm just more in tune with it. I know how I feel. I know physically how I feel, that sort of thing, and I know sort of, you know, it's not so much the voice. It's more just the cardio. Well, you know, just
work out.
Well, just because I'm not particularly that into. I don't go to the gym or anything like that. You know, but I don't want to.
Is it a full body experience? A full body thing?
Yeah. I'll crack a sweat. You know, like and you know, like as much as I wish I wasn't, I'm bigger than I was. And you know, like where was I the other day? Had a novelty game of tennis with somebody just at this guy's party. They were all playing on the tennis court, so we had a game of tennis and almost blew my whole knee out forever. Just like an old man would, it was like a bionic knee. But it's amazing. And of course, 25 years later, you hear different things. You know, like I know, especially the songs that we wrote ourselves, I know what parts of the songs, you know, you can bam, that bit there, oh, here comes it, oh, I know that bit there, and it's sort of, it's, and the, over time with people telling you how much it's meant to them, and you know, like there would have been a time when I probably hadn't even listened to an album for 10 years. Just because I was, for some reason, embarrassed of it, or just felt we could have done better or something. Well, I don't know, whatever anxiety I built up about it. And now I listen to it, like, this is actually cool, man. This is cool. Shut up. This is cool. And then when you get in the practice room with it, and you go, oh my god, that sounds awesome. You know? It's like, and for Bayrock, because we're in a situation where the guitarists like Andy and Silver both live in Australia. We're in a situation where we couldn't organise getting them over. And so we've basically had to sub in two guys. One Sean, who's the guy who we've been practicing with, who's amazing, knows every single note we've ever recorded ever. And is an amazing guitarist. And a mate of ours called Paul as well, who's going to come in. And so we're a bit wary about doing that when we first sort of jammed it out. But it sounds amazing. So we can play those songs the way that they're supposed to sound. With the energy they're supposed to have. And tribute to the guys who can't be here. Because they're still they're not like they're out of the band, but and this can still be a push thing, So that's exciting. And you kind of when you like I say, the songs now I get a bit more why people like them, which is a weird thing to say, I think. But I do. And it's cool. That's cool. And so you know that there'll be one person out there when we play Song 27 who'll be going, oh, this is it. This is the one. Here we go. I've been waiting for years to hear this. And it's cool to be able to go, well, that song that you got into back in 1992 or something like that. When that became your jam back then. What a pleasure to be able to play it for you tonight. That's awesome. As well as we can, and probably better than we would have been able to play it back then.
One of the things I find, like I went to, it was ACDC a few years ago. And the funny thing is, when you go to an ACDC concert or a concert like that, and I'm assuming that, Bayrock might be something similar, is that you get all these people who are 35 plus, more like 40 plus. And they're accountants, they're lawyers and all that sort of stuff. But here they go. They've got their black leathers jeans back on. They got the ACDC t-shirt back on.
The thing is, with our era, we know how to party hard out. And it's
Yep.
like, I mean, like, I almost worry about younger generations, to be honest.
Yep.
Like, like it's amazing the amount of the shows I've been to in Auckland where I go, here we are, here we are, we have this band here, and here's the same old 400 bunch of munters that have been to every gig that I can remember since I was 20. And they're into it now. It's like,
I think for the young ones now, it almost feels like it's about being seen at the gig rather than actually enjoying the gig.
Yeah.
That seems to be it.
Well, I mean, it'll be interesting to play this show for that, to sort of see what they like about it, what they're into and what they're not into. And, I think they'll dig it. I think because I think it's just interesting to see a bunch of people up there who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Playing songs that we've written to, which is really great. We might play one cover. We're just debating that. Oh, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I find, like I was saying before about how the way that I sing in Push Push is, there's not many bands where people sing like that anymore. So which. If one, I wonder where all those bands go. Like, where's all that?
Yeah.
That not so much aggression, but where's that energy and that fire go? As in music at the moment. And you're saying before about how hip hop sort of was dominating, the awards and sort of thing. I think that was always due to happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's sort of it'd be interesting to see what happens next.
Yeah.
Because right now, like. When you've got someone like Lord do such a... And also things are so different for bands. Like now, like when we were... and not complaining because it's just how it was. You'd release a single. When we released our single, it was like, well, we can release a single. Hope it does. Maybe it'll get in the top 20 if we're lucky. And luckily for us, it was number one. And for a couple of weeks, and people were in and became really, really big. That was great because it was a good song. And then the next thing is you release your album. Then you tour around New Zealand. Then you tour around New Zealand again. Then maybe you tour Australia. And you do that again.
You got to put in the work, eh?
Yeah, and then maybe some bands, if they go, maybe they go to England or America. But now there's New Zealand bands, New Zealand artists who are creating their stuff, collaborating with people overseas, and some of them are doing their very first tour is through the States, and it's getting as much PR as it would have got, more PR than we would have got after doing 5 years of slogging. And finally getting over there, because it's all contacts and the whole way that the network and the contacts network and all that works differently, and the way people listen to music's different. It's exciting, man. It's really exciting, but it's cool to see bands like I think it's cool that Zed and Stella and Heliga all still play.
Yeah,
I think it's cool that we still play. I'm glad that we still play.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's interesting what you say. Like,
I don't know where I was going with that big rambling diatribe there, but
that's what it's all about, man. It's all about ranting. So, but it is interesting when I hear about groups like Fat Freddys and Lady Six and other bands who are massive in Europe. You know what I mean? I think we don't actually appreciate that. We don't realize how big some of these bands are.
Yeah.
And whether it is their music just plays well with European audiences, or it's the expats over there who are making it big, they're still nailing it. Like they're getting it together and they're joining in. And
they've got something that's keeping people booking them for gigs.
Yeah.
Like Fat Freddys, I'm not a fan of Fat Freddys' music. I'm a fan of the guys. Yeah. And I'm a fan of what they've done, but it's just not my style of music I'm into. But man, you can't. And it's 660 as well. I can't knock 660. I couldn't tell you one song they play. And that's the truth, which is same. And that's not that probably is disrespectful to say that, but you can't. What they're doing well, and people are into it. So
they're playing the game well. They got it going on.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Have you been to? What was the latest gig that you've been to?
Like I say, a couple of these smaller gigs we played with the Sense of Dinosaurs and DJ and those sort of things. The last big one before first COVID was right on that Tool one, which was just
that's right.
Blew my mind. Which I'm a huge Tool fan. Have been since day one. Been to them every time they've ever played here. And just thought maybe I'd seen all their tricks, but no. That's amazing.
Has the lockdown and all that given me some time to sort of reflect and time to maybe? Has this encouraged you even more to try and get the band back together? Or keep the momentum going.
Keep them. Well, it's good because it's it gives you time to sort of remember who your true old friends were, you know what I mean, and are, and sort of, you know, that's the great thing about, you know, getting together for the Kiss show that we were going to do.
Yeah.
Was like it was a real sort of, well, this is going to be great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I remember ringing, like I got the phone call, do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, pretty sure we want to do it. Do I ring everyone else? Yeah, we'll do it. Do it.
Holy
Okay,
shit.
everyone else is going to be amazing. Yeah. And then that helped. And then sort of just marking, you know, being able to say, hey, it's 30 years since we released Trippin'. 30 years. You know,
Jeepers.
like it's more than that now. It's actually 31, 2. But
90? 1991.
1990.
90.
Yeah. And just, yeah, that's 30, that's ages ago.
Yeah.
How's it still, and you know, and then we're thinking about recording a song once we've done the Bayrock. Yes, pretty much straight after that we start recording a song that we wrote, that we've been working on and just whittling away at, and it's quite different to what we've done before, but it's definitely us.
Yeah.
You know, like that we wrote back then. It's still worthwhile recording.
Yeah.
And the EP that we put out in 2017. The 4 songs on that were, one of them was new, 3 of them were sort of pretty much would have been on the second album if we ever had one.
Yeah.
And I think those songs are amazing. You know, like they're it's like, and it's they still to this day still hold up. We're going to play them with pride. You know, like at the gig, which is cool.
Yeah.
You know, that's exciting.
So you aiming to put out a new album or something?
I don't know how, like with the last when we did that EP, you know, we did a video for it, and that whole video single thing is just a bit.
Yeah.
It's just a bit.
It's not really.
It runs a whole bunch differently than it used to, you know.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Which I sort of been involved in the industry the way that I have been.
Yeah.
I sort of knew that would be the case. You know, I wasn't expecting too much of it that way. And
videos aren't the necessity they used to be back in the day.
No, but even trying to get a song played is hard enough. You know, it's like because, like I say, there aren't. I don't know. You've either got alternative stations, which there are very few of those, or you've got rock stations who are very, very set in their ways, taking their direction from 6 years ago in America.
Yeah.
And or you know, you have to sort of be riding the social media, you know, bath bomb, which is if it suits, but it doesn't really suit what we do, you know, like But you know, it's just cool that we write good music and people want to buy the records and people bought the record, which was cool. You know, but I don't know.
That's awesome.
It's just different from getting in the top 20 the way we were, and that would mean all these little sort of what do you call them? KPIs, key performance indicators. That back in the day would have meant that would have meant this moving on to a next level, which are completely different nowadays, you know. But, you know, so, but it's amazing, you know. So like I love what Lord's done. Lord's the greatest things ever happened in New Zealand music, if you ask me. I think she's so phenomenal. Phenomenal, and her handling of it and her approach to it and her. You know, I've never met her, but her just the way she deals with it, man. Just right when you thought pop music was going to be the worst shit ever, and it was as shallow and dumb as it was ever going to get, and suddenly someone comes up who actually has pride in what they're singing about, and doesn't care what you think she looks like, and just love it.
And she's not doing that stereotypical stuff that a lot of other bands were doing at the time. You know, a lot of bands on a lot of pop music, you know, it's been accused lately of just sounding monotonous. It's all sounding the same. Whereas Lords comes along,
I find it must be quite hard for bands, for new artists at the moment because as much as there's never been more access to more music quicker and cleaner and easier than there ever has been in the past. Yeah. It's still hard to find the really, really, really good stuff, you know? I've probably found one song this year that I've really gone, wow, which was which ironically is the new one by the Smiles, which is Radiohead, Tom York and Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead and some other guy. Oh, right. It's a 2.5 minute song, and it just made me go, wait on, that's awesome. but you know, but I've listened to a lot of music.
Yeah. It's one of the interesting things with Spotify. People say, "Oh, Spotify, you've got more reach. You can listen to a lot more variation." But at the same time, you're based on you're a slave to the algorithms in a certain way, and you only get certain music.
And I know a lot of people who say that the algorithms on Spotify are actually do them like they actually discover some pretty interesting stuff, which is cool. But I'm still just trying to get through my own library of music I've got, and just there's nothing better than just having the time just to go through this pile of stuff here. See, these are really good. Oh, that one, wow, I forgot about that. Oh wow, well this one I totally didn't even know this was a song. Well, cool. But I'm a little bit wary of the whole algorithm thing. So I've always thought, like when I was doing my radio show and stuff, is that the best. Like if you don't like the song I'm playing now, I guarantee you like the next one. Like if you can, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the next one's going to sound anything like the song that I'm playing now. And sometimes the best thing to play after a Smashing Pumpkins song is a dance music song. You never think it, but it turns out it is. Or something that's brutally loud and just 2,000 screaming demons per square foot sort of thing comes through, but then something completely beautiful and quiet afterwards. Ebb and flow.
It's the whole show.
Light and shade. Peaks and troughs.
Exactly.
That sort of thing. And so you don't discover that stuff through algorithms. You know? But discovering music is a whole talent in itself, and it's hard. It's hard. Especially there's one thing about doing BFM that was good is every day having to try and find new music. So I'm really good at doing it, but it's a trick to try and explain it to someone or to try and do a how to. It's just becomes you just have to work your way into it and figure it out.
Did BFM have a broader range that you could play? Unlike the rest of the rock stations are quite narrow. But
totally.
Really
And you're more likely, like I say, I was the only commercial radio DJ in New Zealand, I think, that was playing what I wanted to play. Like choosing what I wanted to play. I'm pretty certain for a couple of years anyway, which is amazing. Because hey, maybe if more people did that, it might work for everyone, hey. But BFM was definitely more sort of you brought your tastes to the market sort of thing. And, same with George and stuff like that, I suppose as well. But
But George has changed the way. Who was it? MediaWorks bought George? I can't remember. One of them. It changed. It changed, but it's still what it is. I mean, was it George on Sunday mornings?
Still done amazing things. And exposed people to a type of music that they haven't. I'm not a big listener myself, but I appreciate it.
So going back to Push and going back to rock, what were the influences that you guys had back in like the late 80s, early 90s? Where did you draw from?
It started out being like early British heavy metal, Iron Maiden, and like first concert I ever went to was Twisted Sister.
Shit. No
awesome.
shit. That's
really
awesome
too.
Yeah.
And that actual concert's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Shazam did a special of it at the time.
No way.
Yeah, it's crazy at the Logan Campbell Centre.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. And
I think of the hair. That's insane.
Just amazing.
So cool.
They were ripping shit up live. They were great.
Yep.
And I guess just heavy metal.
Yep.
In that respect, maybe not so much Black Sabbath, Led Zepp. That's something more just the Iron Maiden, Motorhead.
Yep.
What about Motorhead for still sounding awesome? Iron Maiden, not so much. Motorhead's sounding cool. And just stuff like that, I guess. And just looking at it and going, well, and then the American stuff like it was like Quiet Riot and Motley Crue and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I used to have Nicky Six from Motley Crue painted on my school bag.
So was it your love of music that sort of took you from, you obviously.
I don't know if I love the music or the image or just the whole, or the whole anti. The fact that no one else was into it.
Anti-establishment.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, what is that faggy rock for? It became just a. Me and my cousin got into it, and then it just sort of took off from there.
Yeah. But you said
and then you start getting all the magazines, start looking at the whole lifestyle of you get these American magazines of hey, what a Motley Crue been up to this week. Here's Skid Row and then suddenly we get to a stage where we opened for Poison, Alice Cooper and Skid Row pretty soon one after another.
Holy shit, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, it was really what do you mean? How do we even I don't even know how that even happened because we were pretty shit at the time. We just put a lot into it, I suppose. We just put as much as we could into it, and bearing in mind that we knew that people were going to be taking the piss out of it, but we felt it was a bigger thing than that, And that whole scene, that whole hard rock, American sort of English hard rock scene, became huge over here. Don't remember how much until you chuck on Paradise City or bloody I Remember You by Skid Row or something.
Who sung Cherry Pie? Warrant.
Yeah, see, Warrant. That's where I sort of draw the line at Warrant. having said that, we were massive Poison fans when Poison first came out. We opened for Poison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poison's great. I remember Poison that because the reason why I was fucking 8 or 9 years old. The reason why I like Poison so much is their albums were green rather than a black LP. It was a green one, and I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it's because our album when we released Trillion Shades of Happy, which is the one and only album we've released, was like sort of psychedelic green and purple swirl vinyl as well.
Right.
Limited edition. Yeah.
Wicked.
Yeah. I think it might have been that was the reason for that, actually.
Is it time for a 30th anniversary edition? Or 32nd anniversary?
We sort of re-released it when we did that other EP. And and we re-released slightly different artwork and with a purple. No, was it? Yeah, purple disc. Just straight purple. Yeah, which came out at the same time, which was like a limited thing as well. Because, but we only released that EP on vinyl, like physically, not on CD or anything. Because CDs, remember that? Although they're coming back. But...
Not coming back like vinyl, though.
Well, apparently outside vinyl last month.
Really?
Yeah, apparently.
Shit. What about tapes? Nah, no chance. That just sounded...
See, I grew up on tapes.
Yeah?
I was all about tapes. I was all about tapes for way longer than anything. Like tapes, right up to then CDs. And then when I got into dance music and stuff, then I really started becoming addicted to vinyl. And now I've got this huge, basically a little house made of vinyl at my house. Yeah. Which weighs down the whole house.
So how often do you jump on the decks? Do you still do that?
I DJ like dance music and party DJ and stuff like that as often as I can, playing twice this weekend coming up, and but that's sort of been on and off obviously because of COVID. Yeah. But considering that I'm a 51-year-old male, that's pretty cool. I'm quite into it. And the people I played it was a 60th recently.
Yep.
Like, would you come play my wife's 60th? Okay, but it was excellent. It was so good, and once it was down at this place in Devonport, which is like a half open air, there's like a balcony, and I played Fatboy Slim into George Michael Faith into Fugazi waiting room, and everyone went berserk, and I thought, this isn't so bad. This is pretty good. Yeah. And these kids were driving past on BMXs, young kids, and they were just watching. They just couldn't. They stopped and just like. Some of these old people going off to Fugazi.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
Yeah, so there's still I think maybe my era and the generations either side. And we came from a time when music we really just were spoiled with the music that we were getting exposed to, and that we were instead of it being like here's the 10 albums that are selling this week in the record shop, and 1 or 2 that you're trying to import that you have to keep going back every week, and that's what was import, like that, and suddenly stuff was coming, it was available, but you're hearing it, people coming back from overseas, people travelling more, I guess, and that sort of thing. And it just, that whole era, like the whole fact that we had 21 big day outs, for someone with my musical interests, the whole fact that we had 21 big day outs in Auckland is so spoiled. Awesome, like, we could have not had that.
Yeah. Oh man, it was tragic. It was
tragic. You at Dire Straits.
It was tragic that they stopped it. Well, I can't remember the reason behind it.
I guess it was. I think they ran it into the ground, to be honest. But
yeah.
I think, and with all due respect to the geniuses who put it together, I think they started to take their audience a little bit for granted.
Right.
Which that's my personal opinion. Yeah. As someone who's pretty much been given free tickets to everyone and worked at most of them, and not they're going to gift horse in the mouth. And I say with all due respect, but I think they'd probably agree. Maybe.
Oh, dude, I had some amazing experiences there. I remember one year because I was operating camera on stage, and I was on stage with Iggy Pop. And I'm like walking around with him, and he's like,
Iggy Pop, man.
He's like performing to my camera and shit, and I'm like, what in the fuck am I doing? How did I get here?
I've got 4 seconds of that show that when he walks off and he's got his stomach sticking out, and
dude,
it's so great.
Yeah, was that the Rammstein year? Because that was a show.
There was a couple of Rammstein years.
Yeah.
Good old
I think it was the last one. That's what you mean by it's all about it's all some groups music. Okay, but the show, it's the whole experience being there.
And well, even like the great thing about say something like the Big Day Out, and even this thing, even Bayrock is going to be like instead of just going to a show which push and hit like a hole, which you might imagine you would go to, you'd see around. It's push hit like a hole, Stella, Zed.
Yeah,
that's actually a real good mix of
that's
stuff,
solid.
and there's going to be stuff there that's going to be if you don't like I say if you don't like this one, the next one's going to be good.
sort
of thing. And even for the U2 fans, there's going to be a U2 covers band playing.
Yeah, what was
And
the
you
name of
can't really. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? Unless they sound terrible, which I don't think they would. Otherwise, when they got the gig, you know. So
Blood Red Sky, I think they're called. Yeah.
So that, and also, you know, the great thing is that there's a whole bunch of young bands playing too, which I think is really important, because the best thing you can do for a band, you know, if you're a live band, is get to play live in front of people. You know, whether they're there to see you or not. Just to do it and to go. Okay, so that's what it's like. That's what it's going to be like. This is what we have to. This is what we have to work. This is what we have to. You know, this is.
And that's what you need. You need to be the curtain raiser, like being a curtain raiser for groups like yourselves. You know, and then they'll do their thing, and then they'll watch you guys and appreciate it and learn a bit from it. And I think that will just help them in leaps and bounds.
Well, just every gig you do is worth it. You know. Every gig you do is worth it. Every gig you do gives you an idea of whether it's what you want to keep doing. You know, and or might give you an idea for the future, or maybe, you know, maybe not this band, maybe the next 3 bands you're in, maybe the band after that, you know, or maybe this band will be the one that sticks it out, or, you know, who knows.
So after Bayrock, you guys definitely going to be going for something else, maybe eyeing up summer 2023, or right through 2022?
I guess it's still hard to sort of imagine what's going to happen. Sort of as far as being able to just tell those guys to come over from Australia. You know, so we that's why we've sort of focused on doing the recording. So we do that, and that'll keep us busy for a couple of months, I guess.
Cool.
Or a couple of weeks, I guess. But and then see what happens after that. You know, but it's bizarre. It's like all the great bands that I got into when I was 20. Most of them are still together. It's like and you know, we sort of talked about it. And it's harder, and it's more difficult to sort of arrange stuff, and you know, it's but we still get the same kick out of it as we used to back then. And the muscle memory of it's exciting, and the whole you're playing the songs is exciting, and when that ceases to be the case, then we'll probably call it a day, you know. But why do that unless you have to? You know? You know, so that's what's really stoked to be asked to have been asked to play on this on that lineup, you know, for Bayrock, because it's a cool lineup, and it's a, you know, I just think it'd be a great thing for people to, if you haven't been to a gig for ages, what a perfect one to go along to. And you know, if you haven't been to a rock gig for ages, come on, you know, turn it up. It's like you can go home afterwards and listen to quiet stuff for all you like. You know, it's like,
I think it's going to be great, and I you know, this is the first one, I believe. This is the inaugural. Mate, I hope it goes off, and then you got another one, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and just carries on. I think having it down in Tauranga as well is a really good idea, because you've got it's the perfect location. You've got Auckland, the Tron, and Gisborne. It's not, you know, and people who are generally, I think, they like rock. They like that type of music.
Well, it's not you don't have to define it too much. I don't think, you know. So you know, hopefully it's I think, as far as I know, it's the only real sort of thing that's happening, or has happened down there for a couple of months. And so, you know, so what a great, you know, and it's not ramshackle. It's good. It's a good one. It's a good lineup. It's good bunch of bands, and so it should be cool fun. You know, I'm really, really looking forward to it. Actually, I hope so. Even if it just means that it can shake off a little bit of this weird sort of crap that we've all, this uncertainty and sort of bewilderment that we've all been sort of going through for the last couple of years. For what, you know, to whatever extent, but we have been, you know. And it's nice just to be able to go and just think one way for a couple of hours, you know.
Totally. No, that's a great way to look at it, actually. I think, a lot of people are just mentally drained. You know, we're buggered after this last 2 years, and to actually be able to, I said I went to another gig a couple of weeks ago. It was a dance one, and now to be able to, because I'll absolutely be there at Bayrock, to be able to head down and, you know, just get a dose of rock. Just to sit there and suddenly go, oh, I'm in the groove. I'm in the groove. I'm in the groove. Hey, we're all in the groove. We're in the fucking groove. Woo! Fuck yeah. Like, that's cool, man. That's what, because it's been a long time, man. It's been a long time for most people. It's been since, you know, pre-COVID, COVID. 2019.
COVID.
Yeah. No, I can't wait for the day we don't hear about it anymore. It's been a lovely summer, actually, like, you know, going into whatever light thing we're in now. What is it? Amber? Whatever. And just like, I'm going to fucking ignore the news. I'm not going to look at stuff. I'm just gonna drive around the Bay of Plenty and have
It's really horrible, the news, the way that it's really horrible, it's really horrible, the division that's sort of been. Oh, that's a whole different podcast, but
agreed.
But you know, if we can do something that's got nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah. We're not vying for clicks. We just actually want to make people feel good.
And we're not using people the way that the apostle is.
Oh, jeez. Fuck. Didn't he get arrested the other day?
Yeah, good job too.
Yeah,
just
I reckon.
Stop it, man. he's just, you know, I realised a long time ago that some people need that thing that church gives them.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a church.
Yeah.
But it's so shallow and pathetic.
Yeah.
What a rotten man.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, anyhow.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. Actually, I've seen a lot of the good that it does, and I know a lot of people need it. But then there's this layer that he's in.
Especially what he's doing at the moment, man. Just preying on people's uncertainty.
Yeah. And everyone's uncertain. He's preying on people's uncertainty, which has been developed by media anyway. So he's just.
Yeah.
I don't like to call him smart, but you know what I'm saying.
He did jump on the back end of it as well. You know, he did go, oh, look, here's an opportunity. We can do. Yeah.
But now we're going to let everyone just fucking forget about that for a little while. Come and enjoy some rock and have a good time.
So do if you're watching this or you're listening to this, do come along and have a listen. You know, like I say, we're stoked for being able to play for the first time in a couple of years, and you know, and if you've never heard us before, then have a listen to some original New Zealand music, because it's quite good.
It's very, very good.
We're into it.
Awesome.
And there's some great other bands playing as well.
Yep. So Bayrock 2022 is on Saturday, the 12th of November. It's at the historic Village Green in Tauranga.
Which is historic.
Historic.
Can't tell by looking at it, but
I haven't even looked yet. It's going to be awesome. Tickets are available on Event Finder. Mikey Havoc, thank you very much for dropping by and having a yarn, bro.
Muchas gracias, señor.
Thank you very much. Till next time.